Hey guys, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you guys are. I hope you're having a great time and a great day today. Today we've got a few exciting things to do. We're going to build my new Noah, which I'm really excited to put together and have a look at. It's in a really unusual colour, so I'm hoping I can find a key set that will match it. We're also going to take a look at the new Silk and Dry series switches from Novelkeys as well. So these are a Dry series which is completely lube free, and then also the Silk series which is actually factory lube with Crytox 205 grade 0. The first time we've seen that in a switch, so excited to show you guys those. Let's see who's in chat. So James gets first today. He says, evening Jay. Good evening, good to say. I actually have something for you, James, just at the side of me. If you want me to show it on stream, tell me and I will show it. But it's something that you've seen pictures of but haven't seen in real life yet, but it's just at the side of me. I can always show that if you want me to, but if not, I'll keep it secret. Enemies Friendly's here as well. Socialite is here. Bean Lover 425, Depleted Vest Bean. Stillwind says, hey, good evening man, good to see you. Glasses is here as well. He says, yes, I need to see what these switches are like. Have been thinking about them ever since the last Top Clack. Well, I have them here. I haven't had much chance to play with them, but I am going to build with a pack of them today, and we'll compare them to some other JWK switches I have, some Tangerine V2s, which are completely stock, and some H1s as well, and we'll take them apart, we'll look at the lube and see how it goes. So we will do that shortly. Damage Point subscribe for 15 months. Thank you, man. Thank you, dude. 15 whole months. Wow. Thank you, dude. I really appreciate that. Where does the time go? I have no idea, man. I have no idea. Silky Poggers. Nice. Yeah, Silky Poggers. Music is a little too loud. Oh, sorry. I'll turn that down. Apologies. Let me drop that down. Steelwood says, how am I doing? I'm doing good, man. I'm doing very, very well. Today's been a fun day. I've been 3D printing some new stuff. I've been setting up at the new workshop. This is probably going to be the last stream with this as the background. From next week, we're probably going to be streaming from the prototypist offices, so looking really excited, and I really forward to that. So we'll see how that goes, but it should be this week, all being well. The only thing I need to move now is the camera equipment and the lighting. Everything else is already there and set up. Depleted Vespi says, is that switch jar there to cover the L in the LKT? Yeah, exactly, LKT keyboard. It's exactly why it's there. It's that's actually going to make a keyboard. At some point, we're going to make a random keyboard with random switches, and then probably do random keycaps as well, because why not? Tommy Hong says, what's up? Good morning. Very nice. Good afternoon, good evening, sir, wherever you are. I hope you're doing well. SELQ, thank you very much for your gift sub that came from Thomas2112. So thank you very much, guys. I really, really appreciate that. That was very nice. Matt Newtons as well. Thank you again for the sub. 15 months now. Thank you, dude. I really appreciate that. Glacier's here as well. He says, good evening, Clackers. Good evening, man. Trolling Cooties here. Tomasi 2112 as well, who gave away the gift sub. Tommy Hong. Who else have we got? We've got Kakan here. He said, does the landlord suspect you of doing adult material in your new warehouse? No, surprisingly not. He doesn't understand the business, but he knows it's not anything towards adult material. There we go. Okay, so I think we've caught up with chat. We've got John O'Warren and HP Kibi here as well, and Banter Bunny as well. What a great username, Banter Bunny. Thank you very much. You said you got a new office. Yeah, if you don't follow my Instagram stories, you can see a lot of it on there. I kind of update daily with little short videos around how I'm setting up. But Prototypist has a new warehouse. We've been there just over 5 weeks now, and whilst I was setting the warehouse up before and making sure we were ready to take influxes of key sets and keyboards and all of that kind of stuff, the other thing I've been doing more recently is setting up the office space there, so that I can relax and chill out and have a break area when I'm in the midst of packing things, and also so that I can work from there for both my day job remotely whilst we're not going back to the main offices, and also so that I can stream from there as well as do all of the paperwork and printing and all of that kind of stuff that entails as part of a business. So yeah. Yeah, so KVS says, are these new Novelkeys switches supposed to be released this month? I don't know. Mike hasn't told me when they're going to go live. I do know that the ones I have here are prototypes. I think he has a full round on its way. I don't know if he's got them in stock yet. I don't know when they're going to go up for sale. Or like, I do know the pricing, but I'm not sure I'm allowed to tell you. But I don't think people would be disappointed with the pricing. So I won't tell you that today, but I will take a look at the switches shortly when we flip over the cameras. Thank you very much for the congratulations there. It's a really nice space, and we've been doing a lot of cool work in there. So yeah.
Very.
Fleximum, thank you very much for the 11 months of subs. It's currently on an 11-month streak. Thank you, dude. I genuinely appreciate that. Flex, one of the nicest guys in the community, so thank you, dude. Okay, yeah, if Lightning's able to mention it, then I can too. I didn't know it was if it was public knowledge or not, but yes, they are going to be 55 cents per switch, which is pretty good pricing when you think about it. If you compare that to a lot of JWK switches, that pricing is pretty on par, especially when you consider that the Silk series is going to be lubed with 205 grade 0 from the factory. So yeah. Lightning jumping in there and sabotaging my stream idea with the same thing. We've got Balors here as well. He says hi. Good evening, man. That's unpowered them straight from Duroc. It is indeed, Huey. It is indeed. It's a good price for a good Switch. Well, I don't know if the good Switch is actually. Let's wait until we build until we say whether the good Switch is. But yeah, I'm excited to see how they go. Cheaper than what you thought would be. I was expecting them to be around the 75-cent mark, maybe a little bit cheaper, but not much. So to have them for 55 cents is unreal. Yeah, it just goes to show the kind of volume that we're pumping through the community these days. Are those Switches going to be Novelkeys exclusive? I understand so. Huey, thank you very much for the resub, 11 months now. As far as I understand, the Switches are going to be Novelkeys exclusive for the first run. I don't know if that's going to carry on going forwards, but yeah, we shall see. Mac Mutant says, seems like reasonable pricing if the looming is on point, assuming similar quality to other JWK Switches. You know what's good? Good year. Sure. Hey man, Kakan, you do whatever you think is right, and you be you, man. You be you. Flexaman, thank you very much for the 5 tier 1 gift subs. Thank you, dude. There you go, guys. 5 more subs to the top Clack family. Thank you very much. Really, really impressive. Get that thing shown, James. Do you mean the thing I printed for you today? Is that what you mean? If so, tell me. You want to see it up close? All right, okay. Let's flip over the camera and let's show you something we made for James earlier on today.
Ooh, very.
Ta-da! There we go. Thank you very much, Flexman, for those gift subs. That's amazing. That's amazing. So I have something here that we 3D printed for James today. It's been something we've talked about doing for a while, and I've actually got another one. Ooh, very nice. I've actually got another one on the printer at the minute for something slightly different, or different project. But these are pretty cool. So, for those that you don't know, James designed a board called the. Ooh, very nice. Designed the. Ooh, very nice. No, designed a board called the OGR, and what we've done is we have 3D printed a mini replica. So I just wanted to show you guys this little mini replica. This is the base. You can see it's still got the screw points. It's got the rear part. The USB. The USB's in there, I think, on the original prototype. This is the base, and then look at this. How cool is that? The little pen groove. We've even got a mini plate in here with flex cuts and sound cuts and all of that kind of stuff. It's a little bit rough in places. I do need to tweak some settings and stuff like that, but I thought I was really happy with how this came out. You can even see really clearly the side seam that the board has where the two parts fit together, because of course those have got nice chamfers around them, and that seam runs all the way around the board like the OG Cherry boards do, and it's even got this nice little front lip on it as well, just there. So how cool is that? So I've actually got one for the JO2 printing, the sequel to this board, printing on the printer at the minute. I'm going to try and do some of these in different colours and things like that. And Flexman says, print switches, please. Little tiny switches to go in it. Yeah, we could do. We could do. We could do. Yeah, maybe we could do one with keycaps on as well. That's so cool. Yeah, it's great, isn't it? James and I have been talking about doing something like this for a long time, and we finally got round to it earlier on. Sound test when? Do you want a sound test? Here you go. James, I'll get this into the post to you with all of the other bits and pieces I've got for you coming as well. But this is really cool. It needs a little bit of a sand on this edge here because we had to use some supports to, because of course this bit printed flat on the bed, so that it needed supports all around this area here. But the base came out pretty nice as well. So James, I will send you this in the next couple of days. I will show you guys the JO2 one next week. I'm going to print some more boards off in different colours, maybe do a JO1 one as well. Yeah, all sorts of cool things we can do. These can be sanded and painted, as Flex says, and you know, all sorts of stuff. So yeah. I don't know what James is going to do with his, but I might chuck them in the JO2 packages when they get shipped out in a couple of weeks for the guys that bought through me with the limited editions. So yeah, we shall see. I'm only going to print models that I own the rights to or have been given the rights to use these for, so I'm not going to do anything else. Karcher, thank you very much for the sub, man. Really appreciate that. So James has allowed me to print this because he owns the board. I can print the JO2 because that's a design I've paid for. Anything else, if people own the designs, I will maybe print them for you. But yeah, pretty cool. It's just a nice little chunky thing, but it's pretty solid. There's no like flex in this. It's like really solid. Came out way better than I was expecting it. So there we go. We could do a Virgo. We could do a Lodestone. Flexman. Yeah, let's chat Flex in the next couple of days, and we'll get you some done. We'll get you some done. So yeah, there we go. That's the first thing to show you. What's the board on my desk? This is the JO1. This is the JO1. So I did the sequel to this, the JO2, and I'm going to print. There is literally JO2 printing right now. In fact, it may be finished. Let me see if I can show you on my phone, because I can go to Telegram, and I can let me see if I can show you this. So I'm just going to do a status update from my 3D printer. Okay, so I've sent /status, and there you go. You can see it's right now. This is what's happening live. It's printing my JO2. Let's have a look at that picture. Zoom in. There you go, guys. You can see there's a version of the JO2 that's printing right now. And there is a little GIF of it as well. There you go. That's live video. There you go. So for those of you who were wondering why I was streaming some video earlier on today in my Prototypist Discord, that was why, so James could check in and see how it was going. There we go. Is that print a single piece or multiple? Got in a little late today. It's just one piece. It's just one printed piece, so it prints the whole board from the ground up. I do want to try doing a JO2 with different coloured filaments and do it in different bands, so that I can get the brass middle row and things like that. So we'll try that out, and we'll see if we can do the new JO1 revision one as well. Yeah, we'll see how we can get on, but definitely excited to print some more. But Flex, if you want to do a Virgo, we can do a Virgo. We could even do a little numpad to go with it. We could do those. We can definitely do a lodestone. You've already had a full-size lodestone numpad out of me on that as well, so we can definitely do the mini lodestones. Print a miniature pen to go with it. Yeah, sure, we can do that.
Very.
Vogon subscribes for 9 months. Thank you very much. 9-month streak, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. All these resubs and everything else going on today. Really, really crazy. Anyway, the content you came for was not for mine and James's little side projects. It was for other things. So I do want to show you guys these switches. So I've got 6 packs of them. Mike was kind enough to send me 6 packs. These are the dry switches. They come in red, yellow, and black spring weightings, so you can imagine something similar to Gateron standard springs in terms of weighting. In fact, I do have the weightings here. Let me just grab those for you, and I will tell you exactly what they are. Okay, so the yellows, which is this one, these have an operating force of 45 gram and bottom out at 63.5. They feel pretty good. They're very, very similar to a JWK housing. The only thing is, I'm not sure if the camera's going to pick this up, but they do have the NK logo on the top. Focus camera, please. There you go. Can you guys see that? The NK logo just up there, just on top. It's just not going to focus any closer. Yeah. But yeah, it has the NK logo just up there. There it is. The red switches, these are operating force of 35 gram and bottom out at 55 gram. These are really, really light, like incredibly light, almost too light. And then these are the black switches, and these have an operating force of 55 gram and bottom out at 72 gram. So they're slightly lighter than the H1 switches. So there we go. There you go. You can see the NK logo nice and clearly there. So these are, there you go. So these are made by JWK, but they are NK branded. These are Novelkeys branded switches. This is the dry series. I also have the silk series as well, which we'll look at in a second. Now, if you compare these to, say, a H1 switch, which I do have to one side, they are almost identical. The materials look to be the same. The stems look to be the same. The weighting is slightly different on this. On the H1, it's slightly heavier. This is slightly lighter, and that's quite noticeably lighter. The springs feel just as nice, which is kind of interesting. And of course, you've just got the NK branding logo on top, which is the only way I'm able to tell these apart. So there you go. Apart from the weighting as well, but other than that, these are pretty much identical. The materials look and feel the same. So there you go. Make sure you get them the right way around there. These tops are technically retooled, yes, because they have the NK logo on. And so we've also got the silk switches. So these are exactly the same weightings, but these are factory pre-lubed. So these also have the NK branding on top, which this is going to be really hard to show you on these actually, just because of the white colour of them. You might just be able to make it out there. It is there, I promise you. There you go, kind of, maybe see it. But these do feel significantly smoother. Like these are noticeably smoother than the dry series. Like you can feel the difference when you press them, that they definitely feel smoother. I know I'm showing you smoothness on a camera, this is crazy, but I promise you they do feel smoother. Whether they feel good or not, I'm going to wait until we've got them in a board because it's difficult to say. But I thought what we would do is it would be worthwhile just taking one apart and taking a look and see if we can see how well they've been lubed. Now I haven't done this before, this is me doing this live. So, looking at the top housing, I do not see any lube on that top housing whatsoever. There is no lube in there whatsoever.
Ooh, very nice.
Jack Static, thank you very, very much for that 15 months of subs. Maybe Jay's amazing build abilities will be able to make the Noah sound not like poop today. We shall see. I feel like I'm doing mic switches a disservice by using the Noah for the build, but hey, that's the way it comes. Okay, so I can see lube on the stem. Can you guys see that? Really, really fine layer of lube. Like that's impossibly fine. Like I don't think I could get that fine with a brush. Like, can you guys see that? If I do that, you can see the finger stripes in it. Look, impossibly fine layer of lube. That's really, really fine. Spring is lubed as well. I can feel the lube on the spring, but again, it's very fine. I assume that's 205 grade 0 again. And then on the inside of the housing. Man, this is a really, really light coat of lube. There is next to no residue on the housing. There's some slight residue in the rails that you can see. Well, I can see it in the light, but you guys probably can't see this on camera because the camera's not going to pick it up. There is some slight residue in the rails, but other than that, not at all. It is very, very light in terms of lube. That's crazy. I've never seen a switch stock lubed as lightly as this. I wonder how they do it, because this isn't like vat lubed or anything like that, because there's no lube. Oh, you can see the lube actually on the front here. This is where you can see it. Look, can you see it on the front there? Focus. There you go. You can see where it's got the pattern of the switch housings crushed into the lube. So there you go. You can see it there. But there's no lube on the stem, the cruciform. So the cross bit on the top, the cruciform. There is no lube on that whatsoever. There's no lube on top of the housing. It is all inside. So I don't know how they've applied this manually, but it doesn't look like they've been put in a vat and done. Well, colour me impressed, guys, because I was expecting them to be chock full of lube, like visibly able to see it, and you actually have to search for it. That's a really fine layer. Let's take a look at one of the other ones. A little bit looser now I've opened it, so this switch feels a little bit loose. So I don't know if you guys can see the movement there or not. There's a tiny bit of movement. Now I've opened that switch, it does feel a little bit looser, so I'm just going to keep that to one side, because I am going to use some of these just completely stock in the build today. Let's take a look inside one of the yellow switches and see if this is the same. Some sort of automated procedure to replicate this. Yeah, dimly lit basement filled with child workers. Well, I don't know if they've been to the school of Swires or Max, because these are way better than I was expecting them to be. Okay, if I actually, let's take a look at the top housing again. Again, no residue that I can see on the top housing. Just the standard top housing itself. Spring is lightly lubed. I can feel lube on the spring. That's lightly lubed. Again, you can't see any lube. Even in the kind of like the thick bit of the spring down at the end, you can't see any lube collecting or anything like that. So really impressive that they've managed to get it this light. Again, you can see a thin layer of lube. It's going to be really hard to show you guys on the yellow, but there is a really thin layer of lube just on here. It's just as visible in real life as it is on the black switch. If I do that, maybe you can kind of see. Focus. For God's sake, camera. Trust me, it is there. It's noticeable there. I genuinely don't know how they've managed this. I'm going to have to speak to Mike, because this does not feel like they've been chucked in a vat and tumbled round, which is how I would expect them to lube them from a factory perspective. And it's not like they've been injected with lube either. And it is a really, really light coating. Like, it's impossibly light. Let's just see how the tolerance is. So this is an unopened switch. And there is a very tiny fraction of movement between the top and the bottom housing. Now this switch has been opened and put back together, that movement's probably 3 times as much. It's actually visible. So if you do open them, you do need to switch them. You do need to film them. That's one thing I would say. But unopened, the tolerances feel pretty tight. They're pretty okay. Maybe it is aerosolized. Yeah, maybe. I don't know how you do that with 205 grade 0, but it could be something like that. There are many ways to apply lubricants. How they've done it, I don't know. Let's take a look inside one of these switches just to make sure these aren't lubed, because the other thing I want to make sure of as well is that these are completely dry. Mike said they're completely dry switches. There should be 0 lube inside. So let's take a look. Okay, again, as expected, nada, nothing at all on the top housing. Okay, easiest way to show you this is, guys, is on the front of this. You can see on the front there's no grooves like we saw in the previous switch that I did. So let me show you the 2 stems side by side. Open them different sides just so I keep them separate. So this is where I'm going to try and show you the difference, guys. So this is the unlubed stem. Look at this front face here. You can see this front face here is completely clean. And if you look at this front face, try and do them both together, you can see that there's a pattern of lines on it. That's the lube. It's almost like a brush line. Now it also goes down the rails as well. It's harder to show you on the rails. You might have to just take my word for it there in the light. So there we go. There we go, guys. If you open them, they need films, which I think most people agree most JWK switches do. Certainly the H1s do. This feels like a lighter H1, but it's completely dry. We've proven that it's completely dry. There is no lube on these switches. These ones are, the Silk series, are impossibly thinly lubed. Like, it's so fine. I don't know how anyone could do it with their hands this fine. And I just hope it's consistent across the whole lot. So there we go. But yeah, excited to build with these. Right, before we go on to the next bit of the stream and get on with the build, and we start to put some of these switches through their paces, have you guys got any questions before I put these switches away to one side? Do you guys want me to try anything else out, to look at any of the tests? Everyone's gone quiet. There's no commentary in chat. Okay. I'm going to assume that means you guys have not got any questions. Okay. Chat dead. Yeah, chat's died. Chat's just gone. I don't know where chat's gone, but everyone in chat's just disappeared. Are the Tangies pre-lubed? I can't recall if they are. Let's take a look at one. These are completely brand new. These have never been taken out of the bag. These have never been used. This is a brand new batch, so I have no idea what we're getting ourselves in for if I open this up. No, there is absolutely no lube on these. I don't know if they were ever sold as having lube or not, but these are completely clear and completely dry. Nothing on the spring either. Nothing on the spring. The weighting on the white ones is exactly the same as it is on the black housing switches. So just to recap, the reds are 35 gram operating force, bottom out at 55. The yellows are 45 gram operating force and bottom out at 63.5. And the black operating force are 55 grams and they bottom out at 72 grams. So there you go. That's the same across the dry series and also the silk series, the white housings. So yeah, all the same weightings in that perspective. try and put these switches all to one side now, so I don't get them mixed up. I'm going to build with the switches that probably shout out to me the most, which are the heavier ones of the set here. So I'm going to go with the black switches, black stem switches. And housing's white, JR off-white. They're pretty white. I don't think I have anything else to hand that I can show you. Can you put them with a keycap on so you can hear it? Sure. In fact, actually, let's do two the same weight so you guys can hear it. No, the silk will cost exactly the same as the dry, as far as I understand it. My tendies from the most recent group I had some lube on them. Those ones seem very clear. There was nothing on the stem, at least when I looked at it. I don't think it's a good comparison with those. It's much easier to use the H ones because they're more comparable to what these are. I'm just going to keep these to one side because we are going to be using those today. And of course, I have got the I haven't shown them, but I have got the red switches for these as well. Mike was a babe and sent me a pack of every single set, which is just unbelievable, kind of him. Okay, let's get some keycaps on these. The springs are pre-lubed, yeah. So on the silk series, the springs are lubed, and on the dry series, they're not. You can tell just by touching the spring and seeing if you get some kind of feeling off them. Can't get into these keycaps. These are the nice little cherry ones off of. I can't remember the name of the store now. I think the Vietnamese store. I can't remember what they're called now. George gave me the link the other day. I doubt there was String Crunch from JWK Switches. Keys.my, that's the one here, yes, thank you. I couldn't recall the name of them. Yes, I picked these up the other day. I only got the two. Man, these don't want to come out of these bags. I'm going to have to get some flush cuts here and open these up. What material and housings are the stems made of? So, the top cover on all of these switches is polycarbonate. The bottom cover is PA. I'm not quite sure what PA stands for, but it's PA. And then the stem is POM. That's all Mike has said. He said top cover PC, bottom case PA, stem POM. So there you go. So let's see if you guys can hear a difference in these. Let's pause the music for a second. And then let me take off my headphones and let me have a listen as well. So this is the loop switch. Oops. This is the loop switch. This is the unlooped switch. These sound thockier already, you can tell. Yeah, the cherry logo caps are great, aren't they? These are really cool. Yeah, the lube one sounds stockier than the other one. So, unlubed, lubed, a little bit thockier. Very, very similar, but not a huge difference. Okay, let's get the music back on.
Ooh, very nice.
Ooh, very nice. Thank you very much, Cozy Fanatuti, for the subscription. I genuinely appreciate that. What's the spring made out of? Metal. PA is polyamide. I don't know, I'm not sure. Mike just literally said, he literally says top cover PC, bottom case PA, stem POM. That's literally the only notes I have. That and the pricing at 55 cents per switch, which is incredibly good price. It's a really good price. Fleximan seems unsure. He says, he's not convinced. That's fine. Cozy Fanatuti, best username. It's a great username. Metal Springs, NK really innovating. Yeah. TG fan here. fair enough. Cool, so that's the switches. We are going to use the lubed ones today, and we are going to build the Noah. So I'm going to put these to the side just there. Those are the ones we're going to build with, so the heavier switches, because that fits more my style. We're also going to use Durex stabs, because why not? I have not decided on what layout I'm going to put on this board yet, so you guys can help direct me on this one. But this is the Noah unboxing experience. I did unbox this on Instagram the other day, if you guys saw it, but it does have some additional kind of cables and gubbins and wizardry we'll need to take a look at, and this is really cool. How cool is this? There's a little, on the PCB there's a little keyboard. We'll take a look at that a bit closer when we open everything up. There's also the standard Matrix Noah PCB. Now, as far as I understand it, Matrix PCBs have never been programmable, so I will not need to program this, is my understanding. But we do need to snap off the outside parts of this PCB, because it has got the protecting parts now. This is pretty nice. Yeah, it even has the little void stickers on, so this has never been opened, brand new kit. So yeah, pretty cool. I also went and bought the additional weight. I have not got any double-sided sticky tape or anything for this, so we may drop this in. It is slightly bent. I don't know how that happened. I think it must have happened in shipping. This didn't come with the board, and I actually got this separately from a gentleman in Vietnam who makes them. In fact, it may have even been the same guy that sold me these. So yeah, so I'm going to put this in maybe today, but maybe not. I might just end up doing this later on, because I might need to flatten this off a little bit more, get this back in the press, and kind of flatten it out a little bit. So we'll see. But I'll put that to one side. We may or may not use it. We should see how we feel. Let's just have a quick catch up with chat before we get the board out. Switches. I haven't put anything like that in Defunct. What switches we're going to use here? I haven't updated the build command. Oh gosh, let me update the build command really quickly. How did I not forget? How did I forget to do that? There we go. Okay, the build command is now updated, guys. You can do the build command if you want to see what we're doing today. Defunct. Pretty nice packaging. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the packaging. It's pretty good. Do you think of cases have less or more ESD than metal ones? Do you think PC cases, is that what you mean? I mean, electrostatic is a difficult one. It's difficult to judge, and a lot of it depends more not on the board but more on your surroundings. You know, what type of footwear have you got on, what type of flooring in your house is going to matter more to the actual amount of static electricity you build up in your body and then discharge into the case. So yeah. Noah should have QMK nowadays. So on the repo earlier. Oh nice, I didn't know it had been ported. That's good news. That is very good news. Okay, and this is the board. I did unbox this the other day on Insta, so I have taken this out and had a look at it already. It's in a very unique colour. You guys may or may not like that. I do not know if I like it or not yet. But I'll show you the board. This isn't, it's going to look more orange than it actually is, but this is the coral red. So this is a really, really interesting colour. The camera's probably making it a little bit more bright than it really is. But yeah, it's an interesting color. Let me see if I can just adjust the camera to get this a little bit closer to how it really is. Let me see what can I change here? Okay, that's probably a little bit closer to how it looks in real life. Let's leave it like that. So that's broadly the colour in real life. That's pretty close. It's a really flat colour. It's a really unique coral colour. Yeah, interesting. Very light board. Like there's no weight to this at all. It's a really light board. Some interesting details. The front edge has this kind of lip in it that runs all the way around. That's kind of interesting. On the underside, you can see that's carried around here, but it actually raises its profile, so you can get your fingers underneath it to pick it up. It does have the Matrix logo. This is really garish. Some of you guys are not going to like this. This is actually a little bit loose. It needs screwing in tighter. The badge there is not quite straight, but I think we can fix that on the inside. This kind of sandy coloured piece at the back, and then another teal piece in here with the Tools and Toys badge, and then the brass coloured bar across the top there as well. Silver aluminium plate, universal. So we will go ISO. I don't know what bottom rows this supports. I haven't looked yet. We'll see when we get the PCB ready. I don't think this is anodized. I think that this is... I don't think it's powder coat either. I don't know what it is, but it's not anodized. It's definitely some sort of coating. It could be a Cerakote. Yeah, it's some type of Cerakote, I think. I don't know why the enter looks so large, because it's huge, right? This is huge. This is a huge gap. I think that they've just extended the hole this way too far, even for all of the standard cutouts. So I think switches there are going to be pretty loose and stuff like that. They don't call it Cerakote because Cerakote is technically a brand. Okay, it does feel very much like Cerakote. It's a very nice Cerakote though. It's very even. The base is the same material as well, as this is a Cerakote black and anodized. This is also the Cerakote colour. This is anodized as this piece here. That's anodized there as a little badge, and these two are anodized as well. You can tell that. I do have a Monzo card. I don't have my wallet with me to show you, but I do have a Monzo card. Yes, it's not quite the same colour. The Monzo card is brighter than this, so there you go. Strange plate design. This is a very weird plate design. As far as I understand, the plate files are not public, so I won't be making a custom plate for this one anytime soon. Right, without much further ado though, let's take the case apart and see what we're working with. Let's have a look at how this is all mounted. Okay. Usually I would have prepared and had all of the screws, bolts and everything else I needed ready for the build at this point, but today I didn't. I was lazy, so I apologise in advance, guys. Where did you get the board, if you don't mind me asking? I got this as part of a trade, as well as a Matrix Able. Did you try the switches yet? Yeah, Enigma, we've talked through the switches already, but you'll see that I'm going to build them into this board. The TLDR is the silk switches are pretty smooth. They sound a little bit more thocky than the dry switches, and they have an impossibly light layering of 205 grade 0 on the inside. It's on the slider, the rails, and it's on the spring. And the dry series are confirmed 100% loop free, but they do have a slightly higher pitch sound to them. So there you go. That's a TLDR. For H1 specs, do you know what the actuation bottom? I think it's 78 gram bottom out, but I don't know what the actuation is on them. Okay, so that's the base piece taken out. Okay, so you can see here, guys, the little middle of the badge is a screw. That's one screw to hold that in, and then these for screwing directly into this piece here as well. That does need tightening up a little bit, so we'll probably do that now before we go any further. Is this going to be the same? Nope. Let's just give these a quick tighten. Just make sure that this plate isn't rattling around a little bit loose. Oh, it's still loose. Even though the screws won't tighten anymore, it's still loose. Okay. Okay. These screws are... There we go. Okay. It's very, very tight to get that in place. I'm going to straighten this up as well. It is bugging me that it's not quite straight. Could I get a built canoe? I'm worried about ESD problems with the PCB long term. I think you'll be fine. I don't think most people don't have ESD problems. A lot of PCBs these days do have ESD protection in them, but it all depends on if you're a staticky person or not. So all I'm doing here, guys, is just trying to straighten this up a little bit, and having no luck in doing so. Just seems to not want to be straight. Let's take it out completely and put it back in. That's often a solution to these issues. This is just a little square with a hole in, but it's quite thicker part than I would have imagined. Let's just try and get it nice and flush in here. Okay, that fits better that way. Okay, and where did the screw go? Oh, the screw's here. Nope, it's still twisted. It's twisting from the force of the screwdriver, you see. So there we go. Nice and straight now. Nice and straight. So that's the base piece all fixed. Let's take a look at the rest of the board. Okay, so the other two pieces at the back, they screw in here and here. Let's take these out and take a look. That tiny square is the pinnacle of excess. Absolutely, man, but I love it. Those two screws to come out. So this is the piece that's just here that just sits in there like so. Nice and simple. Lots of parts to these boards. Okay, now I assume, yeah, okay, so to take these two out, you actually have to unscrew this piece here, so let's do that. I think we need another size screw here. There we go. And I think this piece is reversible, so if you don't want the pattern side like this with the Tools and Toys logo here, focus camera please. So if you don't want this side with the pattern on and the Tools and Toys logo on there and this pattern on this side, you can actually flip it over and have it the other way around, I think, because this Tools and Toys logo is still there, which is kind of interesting. So yeah, cool. Okay, time to try and put all this back together and have it all line up nicely.
Ooh, very nice.
Ooh, very nice. Thank you very, very much to I Have No Name 8. Thank you very much for that subscription, sir. I genuinely appreciate all of the support that you guys give. Okay, he says hi. Hi. What do I think of the Tools and Toys logo? If I could have picked, I would have had it without it. I kind of get it's their branding. I'm not sure I'm a fan of it personally. But that being said, I don't dislike the rest of the board. So, although we shall see how we judge it when it comes to doing sound tests later on. I'm not going to put that piece back on actually. And the reason for that is because I'm going to take the plate out now. Just standard top mount, nothing wrong with a good old top mount board. So long I think since I built an actual top mount board. The Group by Noah, I believe, has an option to remove the Tools and Toys logo. It does, yeah, it's just that I bought, this is from the Chinese Group by rather than the Western Group by. There we go. Okay, that's the plate out. Get all these screws together. So there you go, 4 across the top, 3 across the front, and then of course we've got this LED cluster here that we need to take a look at as well. I'm not quite sure how all this goes together. I haven't had a chance to look at this before. Did you get the foam for the Noah? No foam. This is a really rigid piece of metal. This is really strong. Really happy with that. That feels right. Really interested to see how it goes together and builds out, because I haven't even looked at this yet, guys, so I am learning as we go through this how this all plugs together. I suspect we're going to have a little circuit board that's going to screw in along here, which will give us the lights here, but we shall see. Okay, let's move that to one side, and also the base piece. Okay, and then let's take a look at the PCB. Oops, that didn't go quite so well. I do like these little void stickers though, they're pretty cool. Especially because they've got like Matrix on them from 2015, it's pretty cool. They have that. Okay. Here's a PCB, guys. I don't use a light red PCBs, but I kind of like this. This is kind of interesting. It is bowed a little bit, but I'm sure the build will pull that nice and tight again. We do need to snap off this front edge here, and we need to snap off this rear edge here as well. I'm intrigued to see what these parts are for. I'm not quite sure what these standoffs are for. Interesting. Standoffs. I assume they just keep the PCB away from the base of the case. I do like the little keyboard logo here as well. That's pretty cute. That's really cute. Daughterboard and light bar. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I know that's what the JST connectors are for, because there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 JST connectors on this board, LED pads, and a few of the bits and pieces. So we'll see how that works. But let's take these off first. Cutie pie. Who's a cutie pie? There are plenty of cutie pies in chat, I suspect. Oh, the keyboard logo. Yeah, the keyboard logo is cute. Yeah. Okay. Then we just need to try and break off this piece as well. There we go. Okay, let's see if we can figure out how this goes together before I start to put it together. I do like that all of these bags are individually sealed. That's kind of nice. Well, that does mean I'm going to have to rip into it. Okay. The bag is now empty. Okay, so this is going to be... Okay, I see. So I'm going to at some point have to screw one of these on here for the USB. Which side does USB go? Yeah, so I'm going to have to screw one on for the USB. Does anyone know which orientation these go automatically? Or do I actually have to work all of this out? And then this will screw into here, I suspect. Okay, so this has got the LEDs on already. That's going to screw into there, maybe with some other parts in between. Let's take a look. True adult Lego, this one. It certainly seems it. I haven't seen anyone else's build streams of it either, so... well, they look like bump-ons, so we don't need those just yet. 2 JST cables, yeah. Okay, so this has got the cutouts here, so I suspect that this sits on top of the LEDs just to block them out. Like so. Just something like that, just to make sure that they're focused purely into the LED slots. Some more standoffs. Some... Oh, these are interesting. These are nylon screws. Interesting. Not quite sure what they're for. 2 more small bump-on pieces. And the worst thing is that this board comes with no instructions. So, yeah. I'm going to need to be guided by you guys on how all of this goes together. But I think what I can be safe and certain around it is that I don't need any of this just yet, because I can get access to all of this after I've built the PCB. It doesn't look like anything mounts onto the top of this section, so we can come back to all of this once we've put the switches in. This is just a rebranded Weeha type thing with loads of different ends. I think it was £12 on Amazon. It's pretty good. It does the job. But I'm sure there's better tools out there. Okay, let's pop that to one side for now. And then let's crack on with the build. Because what I'm going to have to work out actually is where all of the different wires need to plug in here. I'm assuming it's the 2 closest to the points, but we shall see. We shall see. I've never seen a board with this many JST connectors on. Look at that. Crazy. Crazy. Okay, let's get some stabilizers ready. In fact, let's Google and see what options this PCB supports. Geekhack. Is that where it'll be? Yeah, Geekhack. Let's see what options we can support on the PCB. Okay, so it looks like I can do a 7U bottom row. So let's do a 7U bottom row. So we're going to do 1.5, 1, 1.5, 7, 1.5. Sounds good. We're going to do ISO layout, of course, but we are going to do the 7U bottom row. I'm not doing split space. It doesn't even support split space as far as I understand it, so no. Split backspace. I don't like split backspace. I'm going to go full backspace. I'm going to go ISO enter. Okay, so that's just enough parts for those two, and then I need one more stabilizer set. Step caps is a must. Yeah, I rarely build anything without step caps, so we're going to go. Then we've got 2 more for the space bar. 2 more screws. There we go. So we just need 3 stabilizers for this particular build. Jay, the community's ISO champion. No, I'm not the only one, man. Look at Querdenker. He does all of his stuff in ISO as well. You know, so many people do. I am far from the only person that builds in ISO. Okay. And then we need our 7U wire. And we need 2 wires. There we go. So these are Durex stabilizers. They do not need clipping, but they do need lubing, and that's what we're going to do right now. So I'm going to lube the wires on these first of all. I'm going to give these quite a thick bit of lube on. I know that this board tends to be not the best sounding, so I'm going to give it at least half a chance, and let's make sure these are pretty thickly lubed on the stabilizers. This is just dielectric grease that we're using here. And then we're just going to slide that inside the housing, like so. And we're going to turn it over. In fact, let's get this ready. Okay. And again, we're going to go quite thick on the lube again on this side. Hey Zeus, thank you very much for joining, man. Good to see you, dude. Okay, just gonna lube the sliders now. Plenty of lube still on the brush, so we don't need too much. Just gonna put a really nice coat. Don't want these to feel sluggish on the return or anything, so. There we go. That's one done. And then we're going to move on to doing the ISO enter one now. Just got a set of those in clear. Nice. Yeah, I've got some clear ones as well. I've actually got some of the Mechanique ones as well in Ultramarine too. And I have had some of the pink ones in the past, but they're pretty good stabilizers. Probably bang for the buck, the best stabilizers on the market right now in my view. Again, just going pretty thick, thicker than I normally would, just because I've heard horror stories about how this board sounds, so I'm just trying to give it every chance we can of sounding at least somewhat reasonable. It looks better when you don't have to clip them yourself. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind clipping stabilizers, it's relatively easy to do, but it's definitely a positive that you don't have to do it on these. Okay, maybe that was a little bit too much loop. How do I like the Profit 60%? Profit's a good board. Yeah, I have one. I've had one since the prototype days. I don't dislike it. I don't use it very often, that's the problem, so I'm picking what I say because it just tends to sit on a shelf for me. But I do really like the board. I think the board looks stunning. It's one of the nicest looking 60s out there, I think. It's a really good looking board, it's a Profit. And the designer Max is a really nice guy to boot as well. He's one of the nicest guys in the community. He's always open, he's always honest, he's always willing to chat to people. Really good guy. Okay. There we go. Now we're just going to do our spacebar. Why do you think the board doesn't sound good? Some aspects of the mounting or shape, or I honestly don't know. This is rumours that I'm going on, that people tell me the board sounds terrible and no one can get this board to sound good, and I genuinely don't know why. I mean, there's a lot of parts to it. The more parts you add, the more difficulty you have on controlling things. I suspect a lot of the little parts rattle, and I think that might be a big problem with it. But I haven't really heard any sound tests of the board. I've been trying to keep my eyes open as I go into this and not be influenced too much unduly by other people's builds, but we shall see. We shall see. There's some odd architecture on the inside of the case, I would say that. That could be something that adds a negative aspect to the sound. Have I seen the Adderley? Yeah, we talked about the Adderley on the main show before. Yeah, it's a good looking keyboard. It's a very good looking keyboard, in fact. I genuinely like it. I'll be more than tempted to try and get hold of one at some point. The board is like 800 grams without the weight or something, right? I don't know. We can wait after we finish though, Dingus. We can absolutely wait. There's some scales just in the top corner here, so we can wait once the build's finished. Look forward to seeing how it shapes up. Thanks. No worries, Mr. Petrov. No worries. Okay, let's see where our stabilizers need to go. So hold on. There is 2 slots where the 7U can go. That's bizarre. We may need the assistance of some switches. In fact, my plate might be a little bit more restricted than I thought it might be as well. Let's see what we can do here. I don't think necessarily that heavy boards sound better. I think that's a bit of a fallacy, but you know, there's certainly some aspects of things that can be changed. So what are we building here? We're going 1.5, yeah. Then we're going 1. And then we're going 1.5 again, right? Yes. So that should be those there. Let's just move these stabilizers for a second. Okay. Let me see if I can grab hold of... I was going to show you guys the sets that we're going to use later on today, but I think I'm going to have to bust out a set to be able to get some keys to try this out with and line it up properly with. Yeah, okay. So, we'll use this set. In fact, actually, no, we'll use Pretty in Pink if we've got enough keys. Have we got enough keys in here? No. We'll bust out this set for now. So this is, for those that you don't know, this is GMK Muted. This is going to be one of the options to put on this board when the board is finished. The other options that we have for today are an outlier in GMK Cafe. If you guys think that Cafe would look good on this board, you can vote for that later on when we do the voting for the key set to use. Or alternatively, if that doesn't float your boat, we could look at GMK Bento. So I've never opened Bento. It's still an unsealed. It's still a sealed up packet, but we can take a look at that. So you guys can vote on that later on whether you want to see Muted, Bento, or Cafe on this board. Okay, let's make sure we get this all laid out correctly. Cafe 100%. I mean, Cafe is a bit of an outlier. It's only because it came in and it happens to be at the side of me on my desk that that's even in the running as an option. Okay. Looks like I've already made one mistake. Okay, that's those. Let's now put the space bar in place. Right, hold on. There we Okay, so that means the stabilizers need to sit in the outside hole here. Okay. Just got to make sure that everything lines up correctly. Before we build it, let's just make sure that this looks good. As long as this looks good, then we'll go with it. I need to finish off lubing those anyway. Okay, so that's definitely where our spacebar stabilizer goes. That's all looking good now. Now we can carry on with the rest of the build, knowing we've got our stabilizer in the right spot. GMK Muted, it's a pretty old set now, and I don't think it's ever going to rerun, but let's just finish looping these. In fact, let's take them out. But GMK Modo Light is pretty close. If you are looking for a muted alternative, Modo Light is probably the closest. Only on a group buy, I assume. It ran a couple of years ago, dude. You can't get hold of Muted now without paying $500 or something silly. It's a very difficult set to find. What switch rating am I using? So I'm going to be using the black switches, which are 72 grams. Okay. These back in the board. And we're just going to screw these down. What's my favourite bottom out weight? I like heavy switches, man. I'm a really big fan of heavy switches. I wouldn't say I had a favourite weight overall. I'd probably say 78 grams is probably kind of where I tend to aim to be around, though. 78 grams is probably the best for me. Bless me. Modo Light is the closest HP keybeam. Modo Light is the closest set to Muted. So I'm just putting a nice blob underneath the each stabilizer as well, just like the size of a grain of rice. And that's just I'm just trying every trick I know to try and make this sound reasonable. So you watch it, but it won't be as bad as everyone is saying, maybe, but we shall see. Okay, remember when you tighten these screws, guys, you're not trying to crush the PCB, you're just trying to hold the stabilizer in place. So you don't need to go too tight. You just want to go finger tight. As soon as you start to feel a bit of resistance, you've gone far enough. Too tight and you could risk crushing the PCB. So never go too tight on your stabilizer screws. Oh no, Modern Ultralight is not in group buy anymore. It just sold so many units that you probably have an easier time finding that than Muted is what I meant to say. Sorry if that came across wrong. There is nothing similar to Muted in group buy right now, as far as I'm aware. Although that being said, I'm not as up to date with the news that I used to be. I have been trying to skip a lot of it recently, just because of the new direction Clack's going in. It's been something I haven't paid as much attention to. Would you watch if I made your cable on stream? Zeus, I would love to watch if you, as long as it's not while I'm asleep. I will always watch if you make my cables on stream. Whenever I put an order into you, if you're going to make it on stream, I will try and be there. I will even host you on the Top Clack channel, dude. If that would encourage you even further. Modern Deutschland is not good, but there will be extras. Yes, there will be extras. Yes. Why am I all fingers and thumbs today? I'm not having a good day. Perhaps I need more Dutch courage, guys. Perhaps I should have another drink. GMK Ash's extras are up on Project Keyboard right now too. I didn't realise that Ash's extras had already shipped. Is that Ash's pre-order? I didn't realise it had shipped. I kind of want Ash's and I didn't buy it in the group buy. Let's have a look. I'm pretty sure it'll be pre-order, right? Yeah, it's pre-order, right? Okay, yeah, it's up for pre-order. Yeah, I probably will pick that up. I do like the set. Yeah, I'm sad that I didn't get it in group buy. I probably will pick it up, but I'll wait until it goes into extras with my keyboard or whoever the EU vendor was. Might be in Novelkeys actually. I'm not 100% certain. Okay, now we've got the stabilizers in place. The next job is to push all of our switches into place. So I'm just going to make sure we do that now. I'm just going to literally go through the board and push switches into the plate. Oh gosh, here we go. This is where we already start to have some difficulties. The plate does not want to hook around that switch. Okay. Let's let's get a few switches in place in the middle first. Let's do that. And then we can work from there. Okay. This plate's kind of tight. Is there a difference between pre-order and true extras once they're in stock? Yeah, so once they're extras and they're in stock, they will ship out immediately. When it's a pre-order, you're still waiting for the group buy to ship. You're just paying for a key set after the group buy period, so there's usually a little bit of a premium added at that point. Usually the price will go up by something like $10 in pre-order or something, and then it'll go up by another $10 or something when it's actually in extras, and you effectively pay more because you bought into it later on, and the vendors had to invest more money to get the set made up front. Okay, so that's all of those switches now in. Now we should be able to push the rest of the switches in, and it should all hold together, and everything should just click in. He says, hopefully. Okay, so whilst we're doing this, guys, I want to hear about your days. What have you guys been doing today? What's been exciting you? What's been keeping you busy? What's been frustrating you? All of those kind of things. Tell me about your day, guys. Novelkeys switch, silk and dry switch range. These are new. These are prototypes. These are the silk range. These are pre-lubed with the factory with 205 grade 0, and then there's the dry range which have no lube on them. They come in red, yellow, and black spring weightings, which is 35 gram actuation for some 55 gram bottom out for the reds, 45 and 63.5 for the yellows, and then 55 and 72 for these ones, which are the blacks. Watching the tracking on my board go from China to Japan and back to China. Nice. I had something similar happen. I bought something off Superbuy, it got shipped, it got to Chinese customs, and Chinese customs sent it back to the seller, which was very frustrating. And of course the seller won't refund me that, so I've had to pay shipping from China to the UK twice at $200 each time. Nice. So I feel you. They are all linear. Yeah, these are all linear switches. Chris IRL says, I tried a million things to stop my stabs from sticking in my Iron 165, and the thing that's worked so far was Saran wrap on the wire. Interesting. I've never had to resort to that, but that's interesting. Back in the olden days of keyboard building like this, people did used to put cut up bits of foam inside the stabilizer housing. That was absolutely a mod that was seen as quite valid for a long time. They'd get just a standard sponge and they'd cut it up and they'd soak it in a little bit of lube, and then they'd push the tiny little cubes of it into the stabilizer to try and hold it all together and to try and stop any rattle. It was absolutely what we used to do before we had thick lubes. My thoughts on them. I'm reserving my thoughts until I finish the build. I do think that they are very, very lightly lubed, which is, I was expecting them to be quite thickly lubed, but they're really light in terms of the lube, so I was pretty impressed with that. More so than, it was a lot lighter than I was expecting it to be. Just going to try and lift up the plate here. I'm just trying to make sure that these clip into the plate first before they clip into the PCB. Just to make sure everything's nice and flush. Almost there now. I tried the foam too, but the foam kept popping out eventually. Yeah, that does happen, but it used to be an absolute mod that people used to do. When stabs ticks, just add more lube, pretty much. Yeah, and if it's a really bad stab, just change it. Have you opened them to check consistency? Yes, we took a look at them earlier on. If you want to go back through the stream, you will be able to take a look at the video of those. DD Declines here as well. Good evening, sir. Hope you're doing well. He's checking out what we're building. This is a Matrix Noah, and we're building it with the new Novelkeys switches. Hello, friend. How about them Ferraris? Yeah, man. That was something, man. That was something. First lap, man. What can I say? I genuinely didn't have any words for it. I can only imagine what it was like in the Ferrari garage after that race. The good news is that the PCB is really, really tight and holds onto these switches really well. So even though around here we've got this huge extra cutout that we don't usually have, the switch is staying nice and centered and there's going to be no alignment problems. The only thing we didn't do was work out where we needed to be on this side from a key perspective. Now I think we need to be there. Let's have a look. Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, that looks broadly right. Yeah, that looks right there. There we go. Poor Vettel. Well, I think they were both as bad as each other, I've got to be honest. You should come out at VC sometime, Jay. I've been streaming sim racing for the boys. Oh, nice, man. Yeah, I should definitely try and catch that out, dude. I really should. I just vastly have no time lately, and I wish I had more time to spend hanging out with all of the cool cats in the hobby. I just don't lately. That's the problem. I should make more of an effort, though. You're right, absolutely right. Captain Ladies Man is here as well. How many keyboards do you own? I'm like 30. A couple of hundred. A couple hundred, maybe 220, 230, something like that. I don't know. I genuinely don't have an accurate count. I couldn't tell you. I know I've bought 10 in the last month, but some of those are vintage. I did get a really, really good deal on a Dolce pack as well, which is kind of cool. I managed to get one for £35 British, which I was ecstatic about. But yeah, I mean, behind me there's probably 35, 40 on the walls and stuff, and on the desk and everything. So I genuinely have no clue how many I have overall. Am I going to pick up a Think 6.5 V2? It's not a board for me. No, I'm not. I don't like the stylistic choices in the board. I'm not a fan of some of the options they've picked for it. It's not something for me. Yeah, I'm not going to pick one up. I think Mr. Keeps is probably just a little bit ahead of me. I don't know. It's not really a competition. It's nothing like that. I just like to collect things, and it happens to be keyboards and cars I collect. So there we go. Just a few more switches now, and then we're done. And then we can get on to soldering, and then actually working at how all of this fits together in the case. I might do that actually before we solder, just in case I have anything else that I need to worry about. Okay, that's all the switches in place. I spent 6.5k since summer last year. I have no idea how much I spent. Is this Noah yours or a bill for someone else? It's mine. It's just mine. Mr. Keeps and I are good friends. I completely respect his collection. He's got some really cool boards I don't have in there. Okay, he also cheats as well, because some of his are 40s and I've only got like 10 or 12 40s. So there you go. Okay, let's see if we can work out how all of this goes in the case then, because I'm really, to say the least, intrigued as to how this all lines up. I'm not gonna screw everything in just yet, but I do want to make sure that I'm aware of how it's going. Oh, I see. So these are if you want to have the USB port on different sides. If you look, you can actually change the side that you put the USB port on. That is pretty cool. So I could just flip that over, and that's why it had the other side on it. So I could have the USB port on the other side. I like that. I do like that a lot. I think we're going to stick with having the USB port here though, which will be on this side of the board once we put it together. And I'm pretty sure that that's just going to be a case of screwing that onto there, which we then won't be able to solder the board. But let's just test fit this. Let's just test fit this. Make sure I am correct. Oh, hold up. Let's have a look. Let's make sure I am getting this completely right. Okay, so we wanted to screw that on actually when we put the case together, because that's just going to sit in there like so, guys. It's going to look something like that. Okay, so we want to put that on last, but that's how it goes. That makes sense. So we put a cable with that. The interesting thing is that I think that these have got like a cover on them. Why does that not want to come off? Let's see if we can get this cover off. There we go, that's one off. Okay, there we go. Cool. Okay, so that's now with that in place. Just check that this screw is the right screw for it. Yes. There we go. So that's that put onto one side. The next thing we need to work out is how this bar mounts in. So it definitely has to go with these facing that way. And I'm going to assume that it just screws into here like so. Maybe it goes the other way. Okay, it looks like it's a better fit that way. And then what we just need to do is put the cover over the top. So let's do that now. That's just stuck on there like so. And then when we screw this in, that's going to stop any light bleed across any of those parts. That's good. Okay, that's all. That's nice and obvious. And then we'll have two screws again to fit those in. So which screws do we need for this? I suspect it might be these. Nope. That's that one. Okay, cool. So that's that and that and that. Okay, and we also need that. I don't know what all the other screws are for just yet, but I think some of them might be spares. In fact, I think most of them are spare parts. Let's just pop all these in here. There we go. Okay, cool. Now we've worked all that out and how it all goes together, we can now make sure that we're soldering it all properly. I don't like the Tools and Toys logo. Yeah, that's fine. The elongate's cool. Yeah, I didn't buy one, but I really wish I had. I'm probably going to really regret that. I think Mr. Keith is going to try and get me one to build anyway. Did I get a Zenith? No, I didn't. I did not buy a Zenith. Perhaps I should have done. Okay guys, right now is going to be that time of the stream where you guys can just ask me any question you like. So I'm going to be soldering for 10 or 15 minutes, and whilst I'm doing that, you guys can ask me any question that you would like in chat. All you need to do is go at @Clack, ask me a question. It can be about anything at all, whether you want it to be about life and death, or whether you want it to be about keyboards, whether you want it to be about work, whether you want it to be about what's going on in the warehouse, what went on in the Formula 1, anything at all, guys. You guys can ask and just let me know and ask the questions, and I'll try and answer them as best as I can. First question comes from Zeus Cable. What camera do you use for the top? This is a Sony a6300, but I do have a Sony a7 as well. I tend to alternate depending on where the cameras are.
Ooh, very nice.
Skewed, thank you very much for the 17 months of resubs. Thank you very much, dude. Appreciate that. So yeah, so I usually use the a6300, but occasionally I'll be using the a7. Just entirely depends on where I am and what I've been doing with the cameras outside of streaming. Just going to solder a couple of pins in the middle and one on each corner first, just to hold everything together. Okay. And then as soon as I've done these four, we shall come back to the questions. Going to do this top corner now. There we go. Okay. Second question comes from Killer Gino. How are you doing? I'm doing well, man. Thank you very much. I've had a good day today, productive day. Managed to print off some cool things on the 3D printer. Managed to get a fair bit of work done. Managed to set up a TV at my workspace and get a PlayStation installed there as well, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I'm doing well, man. Now I'm streaming for all of you fun folks. Steve TGI says, what would you recommend for building a first board? Go something that's going to teach you how to solder. That would be my recommendation. If you want to learn how to solder, that is. If you don't want to learn how to solder, go hot swap, because there's nothing wrong with that and it's fine. It's not my personal preference, but I think one of the big parts of this hobby that a lot of people miss is learning how to solder. So my recommendation would be to pick up something that enables you to disable solder all the way through. So you look at something like a through-hole kit, maybe a Romac or something similar to that. That would absolutely be my recommendation. Okay. Static Cage says, what's your favourite car or bike in the collection and why? My favourite car is my Datsun, the Fair Lady, the Z, because one, she's absolutely stunning and beautiful, two, she's an absolute hoot to drive, and three, she's just loud and really noisy, and it's just great fun. Yeah, by far my favourite car that I own. She just sounds so good, and she looks great in the sun. She's bright orange, she looks good in the sun. And yeah, she's just a really fun car to own and drive. And for something that's 50 years old, wow, she looks remarkably good too. Next question comes from, what is the bottom out force on an APC green? Depends on whose APC green it is, James. It depends on if it's yours or if it's mine. If it's mine, it's 480 grams. If it's yours or a stock one, then it's 280 grams. Man, I love you, James. Don't ever change. Have you ever driven an R34? Yes, I have driven an R34. I've driven a couple actually on track days and a few other things. Not my favourite cars, but I would never turn down a go in one. Next question comes from Kakan. He said, who would win, a Teletubby or Hulk Hogan? Okay, so Kakan, I need you to be more specific about this. Is it just one Teletubby and just Hulk Hogan on his own? Or is it, you know, all of the Teletubbies versus Hulk Hogan? Because I think these have very different questions. Hulk Hogan is a wrestling entertainer. He's not a real wrestler, and he's also getting old. The Teletubbies, when we saw them on our TV screens probably 20 years ago, they were quite young back then, but they're going to be in their prime now. They're going to be 25, 30 years old. They're going to be absolutely in their prime. So I think I'd probably go with the Teletubbies on this one, irrespective of whether it's just one or whether it's all of them. You know, it's the way it's got to be. And of course, the Teletubbies have that screen as a distraction, and Tinky Winky has his purse to hit them with. It's yeah, I definitely think I'd go for the Teletubbies. Hulk Hogan's looking very old right now. Trolling Cootie says, real question, boxer or briefs? Boxers. If I wear them, boxers, yes. Intel or and. So I've actually just built, so the PC I'm using right now is an Intel PC, and the one that I've just built for the warehouse and office space up there, that actually is one of the new Ryzen ones. I kind of like the new PC more than this PC. Not for any other reason than maybe I built it personally, whereas I bought this one pre-built because I was lazy. So yeah, I'd probably go for that. I also think that Intel need to shape up in terms of the products that they're offering. They need to come up with something new and soon. Of course, they're still doing amazingly financially, which is interesting nonetheless. Most underrated keycap profile, DCS, by far, DCS. People underrate that all the time. Very few people want to buy it. They say it's cheap and thin, but it's actually really pretty good. I actually just got Yuri DCS in the other day, and I'm pretty happy with it. But yeah, DCS profile, we need to see more group buys doing DCS. I'd love to see, like, you know, 3 or 4 more group buys the next month where we get DCS going. That'd be really cool. Which lens do you use with the A6300? So at the minute it's just a stock one. It's whichever one came with it. I'm not very good when it comes to this. Let me see if I can see. 0.25mm / 0.82 feet to 0.3 / 0.98 feet, whatever that means. It's a standard 16 to 50 OSS. It's just the one that came with it. I'm a real basic guy when it comes to cameras. I know nothing. I just buy what I'm told to buy by people who know better than me. The best person to ask is Querdenker, in my experience, because he just knows what he's talking about, and he was able to significantly help me. What screwdriver set is it, and do I like it? You didn't tag me, but it's just a cheap generic one, made off the Weeha kind of standard. It's reasonable. It was £13, £13 off of Amazon. It wasn't expensive, but the quality's good. It's pretty good. Okay, what are the benefits of going hot swap or soldered? Hot swap means you can change out switches without having to desolder the board. It does offer some complications in the fact that it's only limited in lifespan. You can only swap out switches around 100 times. Once you've done more than that, it kind of won't hold your switches in anymore, or you might not get actuations when you press them properly. Going soldered is a little bit more intensive, but it's more fun in terms of the build process. It's more about you and the keyboard than it is about just getting a keyboard to work. And I think it's teaching you a bit of an art as well. Soldering is a good skill to have for many things in life. As more and more things become electronic around us, I think soldering is a skill that few people have that they should. So it all depends as well. I mean, from a feel perspective, I think this might be psychosomatic, but I think that a soldered board feels nicer than a hot swap one. Now, I've never put that to a blind test, so I could be completely talking out of my rear end. But yeah, there's a small part of me that thinks that soldered is just better all around. Do you watch Motor Grand Prix, and if so, who do you think will win the championship this year? Do you know what? I don't watch the MotoGP. I really should, and it is something that I would love to watch. I just don't have the time, and I vastly prefer the F1, so I tend to stick to just the F1. I don't have time to watch two sports and get involved with all that kind of stuff, so I tend to just watch the F1. But if I ever get a chance and it's on the TV, I do leave it on. I just kind of watch it, even if I don't know any of the people that are racing or anything. Yeah, I don't have any knowledge that I can share on it, sadly. Which EPL team do I support? So EPL could be a number of different things. So buy it up. Explain what you mean by EPL, because there's about 3 different things I can think of that acronym works for. Favorite cocktail, probably a mojito, just because they're nice on a summer's day, and it's nice and easy to chill out with. I love the mint flavour and lime flavours together. It's one of the few times I really like citrus flavours. Normally I'm not kind of a fan of anything citrusy. So yeah, that's what I do. Any info on the J1 Rev 1 yet? So yes, so I'm just waiting on some final renders. Flexaman did send me some renders over the other day because he's a god. I'm just waiting on some final ones coming in from a couple of other render people. And once those are all in place, then I'm going to put the interest check up this week. So I don't know exactly when it'll go up. It'll be one evening my time in the next week or so, and we'll see how that goes. From there, then we'll plan the group buy. I've got a bent pin on that switch, so we're going to come back to it in a second. Okay. English Premier League football. Okay, yeah, so I don't really follow the football. I guess if I had to support anyone, I should really support my hometown, which is Leeds. But yeah, I really don't know enough about football. The Premier League, like my brother is a huge Arsenal fan, but I don't know enough about any of the football teams to be able to comment on it, I'm afraid. Like, I know who they all are and who's good and who's not, but yeah, I don't enjoy watching football, so I tend not to. Or soccer, sorry, for you guys in the States, soccer. If you could be in another man's shoe for one day, who would it be? I hope you mean shoes, as if I was them for the day and get to experience their life and what it's like. I genuinely don't know. There's too many parts of me that are inquisitive about too many different things. I think Barack Obama would be really eye-opening. I also think that some people like Kanye West would be really interesting, not because I like as a person particularly, but because it'd be just really interesting to see what they do with their lives and how they do it. Trump again would be an interesting one. Yeah, probably just I don't know. I'd probably give you a different answer every day you ask me that question, to be honest. Another bent pin on that switch there, so we'll come back and fix that. Oh, and another bent pin. Okay. 3 bent pins to fix. We shall come back and sort those momentarily, because we've just got a couple more switches to solder here, and then we are almost done. Okay. Have you experimented with thicker or thinner CF plates before? Yes, I've done 1.2 up to 1.5. I have done a 5mm one. I wouldn't advise that. It doesn't sound particularly good. 1.2 is interesting. Used it for Alps a few times. I'm not sure I recommend it. I think NX and 1.5 is the sweet spot for Alps on carbon fibre plates. Okay, let's just take out the switches that have bent pins. Okay, rather than unbend the pins, I'm just going to get a new switch out because I'm lazy and that's just easy to do right now. Okay, which was the other one that was bent pin? This one here. Okay, and then there was one more which was just here. This is the epitome of laziness. Rather than straightening up the bent pin, just switching the switch out. Okay guys, almost finished soldering, so if you have any more questions, now is the time to get your last minute questions in. Let's see what's next up. If you can only have one keyboard, which would you pick? Oh man, I was going to pick you a different answer on every single different day. So just give me a $5 Dell rubber dome type thing, and then I can never comment. Just give me one that works. I'd give you a different answer every single day of the week on that, dude. It's almost impossible to answer one of those questions. Right now, I'd probably say my Iron 165, but if you asked me again in a week, I'd give you a completely different answer, and I know I would. Okay, looking good. Final question then comes from Ray again. He said, "You excited for F1's first go around Mugello?" Yes, absolutely. I think that's going to be a great race. I'm really, really excited to see it. If your work prohibited you from using customs, would you quit on the spot? Nah. I like my day job too much. Yeah, Mugello's a great track. It's gonna. I do feel like it's going to be a little bit like the circuit version of a street course where there's very little overtaking. So it's going to be a little bit like Monaco, maybe. I could be wrong, but that's just kind of how I see it going in my head. We shall see though. I'd be happy to be proven wrong on that. Okay, so no time to just put this back together. Pop the plate in, and then once we've put the plate into the board, what we're going to do then is put all of the other little gubbins in here that we need to do, the other LED light bars, all of that kind of stuff. Make sure that's all looking just good and tasty. Casanova Valley is a favourite spot for overtaking in motorcycle racing. Wonder if it's wide enough for F1. I don't know if it will be, you know, it's a very, very narrow track and the cars are so wide in F1. That being said, you know, Max Verstappen is never afraid to send it up the inside. Neither is Alex Albon, so we might see some interesting racing. Neither is Leclerc. Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. Yeah. Skip my question twice. You didn't tag me, enemy's friend. You didn't tag me, enemy's friend. What was the question you asked? Right, enemy's friend. Post your question again because I didn't see it. But you were supposed to tag me. I heard you're not either, Mr. Petrov, so you're not one to come in. Come on, enemy's friend. What's this question that you want to ask? What's the heaviest and lightest switches that you own? I have got some 12-gram steno switches, but I've never actually used them. They feel like they just depress without you even touching them. You can barely feel it. I don't like those. I also have the heaviest switch I have with that works is the APC greens that have been spring swapped to 480 grams. The heaviest springs I have are 900-gram Chad springs, but I had to super glue the switch together. It doesn't actually work. It's all bound up, so it doesn't actually work. But that's probably the highest I've got. What's your favourite plate material? I'm going to say carbon fibre because it is, and that's just a fact. Huge fan of carbon fibre plates. Okay, so let's now try and get this daughter board installed. So the first one is going to just tuck in like so. And then it's just going to screw there. And we need a slightly different screwdriver head. What is 560 divided by 2? 250, 280. Right? 560 divided by 2 is 280. Is that right? I don't know. I mean, I assume that's right, but same as the stock APC green. All right. I wondered where you were going with that. I wondered what you were doing, James, trying to con me there. What's the stock spring on the heavy one? Was it some normal weight and you just happened to use it? Yeah, so I just bought a Chad spring for the really heavy one, the 900-gram one, and then had to super glue the switch together because it just kept popping open. Right, I'm gonna assume that this plugs into here, but I don't know that that's where this plugs into because there's so many JST connectors on the bottom of this board. It's not actually clear where that goes to. So I'm gonna try it's there, and I'm gonna steal the USB cable and let's see if we get anything powering up. Well, that looks like a no. Oh no, it's typing. There we go. It's typing. Okay, so that looks good. Oh, and there we go. It lights up now. Right, okay. So there we go. So that's all lit up. There you go, guys. We'll test it out more in a minute. Okay, and then the second one that we need to pop in is this one. Okay. Is that going to reach? This board could do with having some small notifications on what goes where, just like a little build guide, almost. Okay.
Ooh, very nice.
Ooh, very nice. Shitchinin, thank you very much for your sub. I really, really appreciate that. That's hugely appreciated. I'm going to guess that this connects into one that's called Pad, or is it one called LED? One called LED. Let's go for the one called LED. It could just do with like a little bit of information around which one connects where. let's try that again. Let's see if that lights up now. And we have lights in there, guys. I don't know if you can see that, but that is lit up now. I have no idea how we control that, but that is lit up. I wonder what the pad's for then. Let's try unplugging this and try and plug it in live into the other slot. Okay, that apparently kills it. So, yeah. It does not go in there. And it definitely does go in this one. So there we go. Cool. Okay. So that's all working now. We've seen that all working. Let's do a key test actually. Let's make sure all of the switches actuate. Let's get switch hitter up, and let me share that with you guys as well. You should now be able to see switch hitter at the top of the screen. Let's see through the keys what works and what doesn't. So escape. Okay, all working so far on the top row. Okay, backspace comes up as that, so we need to figure out how to do that. Page down and left down, right up. That's all working. Enter doesn't work. We didn't solder it. So we can fix that quite quickly. Control and caps is swapped around. That switch isn't working either, but it is soldered. So I'm going to suspect that that's just because of the ISO programming on here isn't finished yet. Yeah, so the ISO keys don't work, so that needs a little bit of attention. And then that should be FN. Yeah, so there we go. Yeah, okay, so we just need to solder the enter key really, really quickly. And then once that's done, we just need to figure out how to program the board later on. And we're good to go. Is that a YC8 connector? Yes, it is, yeah. Yeah. Did you see cover the afternoon keyboards yet? What do you think? No, didn't cover those at all, dude. Sorry. And Top Clack might not cover them as well because we're moving away from being a news show and trying to be a more generic content show going forwards as well. So, yeah, keep your eyes peeled for that. There we go. Okay. So I'll probably program the board later on. If anyone knows how to program these matrix boards, do let me know. Give me a shout and let me know, because I will be interested to know. Next job is to put the rest of the board together. Is this the new international Noah? No, this is from the Chinese group buy. Whoops. Go. Let's put that piece back in place. Nice and tidily. Okay. And then the next thing to go on is going to be the base. And then, guys, we can decide on which keycaps we're going to use on this build. Ooh, woo, titles here. Hey man, good to see you, dude. We are building a matrix Noah. Just 4K screws. I kind of like that. I kind of like just 4K screws. Okay, guys, and the next thing we're going to have to do is you guys are going to have to decide in chat publicly which key set we're going to use for the build. So, bear in mind that this is a bright kind of coral red orange board. You guys need to pick the key set that I'm going to use. So, what would you like to see? You have a choice of a few. We can go for GMK muted. That is absolutely an option we can do. GMK muted, that's option 1. With its relative accent kits as well. We could also do GMK Cafe. This is an outlier, but I have a sneaky suspicion this might work. I have a sneaky suspicion that that might work. Failing that, we can go old school and we can open up something that's been in my collection for a while that I've never actually used, which is GMK Bento. This is still fully sealed. I think the pink's probably a little bit too bright, but hey, I'll let you guys pick and choose. Handabytes on the wall behind. But those are the 3 options. Guys, get your votes in now. Do you want to see Bento, Muted, or Cafe on this board? Wormboy, I haven't seen the Ducky on drop. Sorry, I haven't seen it. Yeah, so there is an open seam. Yeah, it's not a gap. It's just an open seam. Like it's just filled. But yeah, there's like an open seam all the way around. That's kind of the design. There you go. Everyone voting for so many different things. Most people have said Cafe. Cafe would look like an old racer cafe motorbike, maybe.
Tasty, tasty.
Wormboy, thank you very much for 50 bits. I really appreciate those tasty bits. Bento will fit better. DMG. Cafe. Tea. Yeah, okay. GMK muted with no accents. I mean, cafe, bento, bento, cafe, bento, 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 muted, muted, cafe, bento. Okay, I think it's between cafe and bento. Bento will fit better. Cafe unique, muted, old school. Yeah, okay, that's fair. So what am I putting on here, guys? What am I putting on? Yeah, does someone want to set up a straw poll? Let's do a straw poll. Let's do a straw poll because I'm going to drop something here. Let me set up a straw poll. Let me set up a straw poll, guys, and you can do a straw poll. Okay, I'm setting it up now, guys. Give me 1 second and I'll get this out for you. Okay, here you go, guys. Here you go. This is the URL. Tell me on there which key set you'd like to see. So this is a reminder. We've got Cafe on the orange board. We've got Muted, which is kind of these soft greys, or we've got Bento. You guys now go and vote on that form and tell me what you think, what you'd like to see. And this is the third option. This is Bento. There you go. So all of the key sets are here. You guys tell me what we're going to see. I'm going to give you, I don't know, 2 minutes. It's 2 minutes to 10 here. So let's give you until 10 o'clock to decide what you want to see, guys. If you vote Bento, I'll spill water on your keyboards, chat. Nice. Carbon would work, actually. I don't have carbon to hand, sorry. I love tuning in here and seeing that glorious ISO layout. Thanks, man. Thanks. Cafe all day. It's a very unique colour, guys. It's kind of like an orangish reddish coral colour. It's weird. Bento is not going to look good if you make me go with this. Look at that. That's what Bento looks like. It's going to clash like mad. You guys have got about a minute left. You can vote multiple times as well, guys, so you know, feel free to go ham. Unicorn, thank you very much for joining. Good evening. I saw in your Insta you drink iron brew. Would you say it's the best soft drink? Yeah, it's my favourite, yeah. Cafe would look super slick. Do you know what? I might have to override what the straw poll says here. I'm hoping in the last minute we're going to get an influx of cafe. Because you can vote more than once, guys. You can vote more than once. Bento won't fit. I know it won't. Can I paste in link again? There you go.
Tasty, tasty.
Thank you very much, Wormboy, for the tasty bits. He said bento means bad keycaps in Japanese. Cafe. Okay, well, you're in the final minute now, guys. You're in the final minute, so we'll see how it goes in a second. Muted, if you don't use them, can send them my way. Nah, sorry, man. Muted will find its way on another board. Get those bots running, guys. Yeah, absolutely, man. Go for it. Damn it, swinging. I think it lets you vote only once. I did turn on the vote so you could vote multiple times. I did set that. I did put that setting on. Brazil sent me here. Hey guys, Gondolindrum, thank you very much for raiding. We've actually just got a Brazil sent me here. That's great. That's awesome. Welcome, guys. We've actually got a vote going at the minute for what key set we're going to put on this keyboard. So there's a straw poll in the link. If you guys want to help out, go and vote for your favorite key set. We're going to either put bento, muted, or cafe on here. Please do go vote. I'm going to extend the timeline so you guys that are all new in chat, the 30 guys that have come and joined us, you guys from the lovely man from Brazil, Gondolindrum, you guys can now vote in the straw poll. Go check that out. The link's just posted by me about a minute ago. I'll leave it open for a couple more minutes. You've got a choice of cafe for this board, bento, or muted. One of those 3 GMK sets is going to sit on this board. It's a lovely coral colour. This is bento with it. And then we've also got the option of cafe or muted. So this is cafe with it. And then we've also got the option of something nice and simple like muted. So guys, go ahead and vote and see what you think. It's a democracy, but you need to vote cafe. That case looks dope. It's a great case. This is the Noah. It's got some really cool features on it. I'm pretty impressed with it. Unicorn says, well, I'm not logged in. Maybe that's why, but I can definitely not vote more than once. Okay, well, I thought I turned it on. Maybe I was completely wrong. I'm not changing it now. It's fine. I'm leaning towards muted on this now. No love for SA today. I don't have any SA sets at the minute. I think I've got Honeywell and that's it. I kind of let go of a lot of my SA sets. This is a democracy, but if you vote Vento, I will steal your left shifts. Nice. Okay. So I think it's probably fair that we close voting down here now. Did we get more than one raid? We jumped from 150 viewers to 212 viewers. I thought only 30 came across. Wow. Well, welcome guys. I think there was only one raid, but welcome whoever's here. No love for SA in general for then from Jay. Yeah, I kind of gone off it, man. Kind of gone off it. Muted should have got some more love. Also evening, just tuned in. Okay, well let's call it there, guys. Let's call it there. So Bento wins with 37 votes. Cafe came second with 30 votes, and Muted came third with 14 votes. So it looks like we are going with Bento today. So let's get this out. This key set has never been opened either, by the way, guys. This has been sealed since the day that Bento shipped. Your own vote counts as 10 votes. We were doing second place one, right? Bro, this is gonna clash so hard. Yeah, but hey man, it is gonna clash, but chat chose this. Look, this is me unsealing this for the first time. There you go. Chat chose this, man. Chat chose this. You've only got yourselves to blame if this doesn't look good. Oh man, I forgot we'd got the novelties as well, but there you go. Right. Executive decision. We do not go with the orange accent keys. These and these and these. These are all going to one side. We might need that space bar actually. In fact, we do. But the orange accents are all going to one side because we're just going to use the blue, because otherwise it's just going to clash too hard. So executive decision made on that, I'm afraid. Anyone who wanted to see an orange mod, tough luck today, guys. Tough luck. Everyone knows Bento's blue, right? Tyranny. Absolutely, Gondo. Absolutely. No fair. Benign dictatorship. I also didn't think this has UK ISO support either, which is a shame, but it'll be fine. We'll cope with whatever ISO coverage it gives us. Actually, I do have an artisan to use with Bento as well, just to hand. This is a Kipora, which is pretty cool. So we're going to use that, because why not? Too close on the colour wheel. Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Pink Legends will not look good with the orange. Yeah, it is. Although it's, yeah, I mean it. Coral red. It is an orange. It's not. It's not a red. Orange is the new blue. Sure, man. Sure. Let's go with that. What are chat rules? I don't see them anywhere. Chat rules are just behave. That's it. Just behave. Just be a good person. Dang, you got your hand on that artisan. I always lose the raffles. This one was a custom. I think it's called the Tycho, if I remember correctly. It's a custom small group buy run by a series of friends as a commission for a keycap. Imagine putting something on that isn't Cafe. Well, Cafe is actually going to go on my Noah65, which is at the workshop at the minute, so I'll take that over tomorrow and I'll put that on that board there and take some nice pictures. Got a rule, love the rules that don't be a dick. Yeah, just be a nice person, man. Don't be a dick. It's simple. Is this a commission for the Orange March tomorrow? No. No, it's nothing like that, no. Masterpiece would look good on this, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Muted is probably the set that's going to stay on this board once it's built. Fully and everything's tuned and tweaked and the layout's sorted out and everything else, because it does need reprogramming, so we'll do that off stream. What ISO support does this board give us as well? That's the other thing I need to worry about. There we go. We did go stepped caps, so we need to change that over. Bread is the best GMK set though. Man, no. Bread is not the best GMK set. I don't care who you are, you don't really believe that. No one really believes that. GMK Greg is the best. Whew. You remember what I said about don't be a dick in chat? Man. Is there an announced date for the Noah group buy? Soon, as far as I'm aware. Double pipe. It is the poor ISO layout choice. Yeah, it is frustrating. At least the Sub-Legends take something away from that. I think any caps would struggle to make that orange look bad. It's a nice colour, man. It's a nice colour. Lobby, thank you very much for making it. Bread Dark Alphas didn't make it. Yeah, no, they didn't, man. GMK Handabite is the best. Well, Handabite's on the wall behind me, just there, just there. My favourite set is Dracula and a close second Ashes. Oh man, it's cheating to pick a set that hasn't actually been made yet, because you never know, the colours might not be what you expect them to be when it ships. You should always pick sets that are actually out there. Hot take, GMK Mechanical, Botanical is ugly. Hot take, so is Mac and Voice, 496. There you go. Botanical's really nice. But beauty's in the eye of the beholder as well, remember guys. So just because you like something, you know, doesn't mean to say it has to be that way. You know, everyone has got different personalities and tastes, and we should be inclusive of all of that. Drac hasn't even been colour matched as far as I know. Yeah, it's not into production yet, yeah. Oblivion best set. Yeah, Oblivion's nice. I like Oblivion a lot, yeah. My opinion is final. It's not how we work here, man. Preference, dude. And then it does have a 1UFN code. I know it does. There we go. Okay. And then we need the 1.5 U keys. Where the hell are the 1.5 U alts? Oh, they're here. There we go. And do we have another 1.5 U key I can use? I don't really want to put control there, but it looks like I'm going to have to. Okay, there we go, guys. That is the keycap set on the board. So there we go, guys. This is the Matrix Noah with GMK Bento and Taiko Kipura. So there we go, guys. Side profile looks good. This is a really good looking board. Even if you don't like the glitzy stuff, like the side angle is pretty cool. The front angle is really nice. This kind of makes it feel as though it's a lot lower, even though it's not. It's kind of like a perception thing. There we go. I don't think it is a good match. Like the blue works really well with the case, but the actual legend color compared to the case color is so different. It's just really jarring to the eye. Like I'm not a fan of Bento personally, but like it just really jars here. But I think Muted will look good when we put Muted on it eventually. I did actually have an Artisan ready for Muted as well. So this one I did get really lucky on. That was a really cool Kipura win. Really happy with that. And then I did have some for Cafe as well. So I don't have the Cafe Kipura, but I do have the Sandstone one, which kind of matches. And I also have the Latralium caps as well, which I do want to use for Cafe as well. Because look at these. These are absolutely stunning. Look at those. Mika does a fantastic job making these caps. It's just amazing. This one's really cool as well. This one's a lot darker in colour. So yeah, Mika is so cool. That's probably one of my favourite Kipuras. If I don't throw it away, but one of my favourite Kipuras I own is that one. That's really cool. So yeah, there we go. But that's the board. Mika was on Midnight stream the other day. Yeah, I missed that part, but Mika is really cool. Yeah, she's actually doing a Midnight Rainbow one, which was my GMK set that I ran. She's doing a Midnight Rainbow one as well, which is going to be pretty cool. Oh, I may be pronouncing it wrong. Maybe it is Mako. I have no idea. I could be pronouncing it wrong. I apologise. Miko like Seiko or Seiko. I don't know how that's pronounced either. How do you get your hands on so many Kipura? Jealous? I tend to buy them or win them in raffles. It's as simple as that. But I find it difficult to find them just as much as everyone else does. Right, okay, let's turn off the music and let's see how this board actually sounds. Let's pause the music for a minute. I'm going to take off my headphones as well. Maker. Okay, Maker. Right, okay. Well, that makes sense. Maker. Yeah, okay. We can go with that. Let's see how this board actually sounds then and see how it compares. Spacebar sounds great. Enter and backspace sound really dull. That's really weird. They just sound really strange. Alphas. I don't know. Don't really like the alphas. The spacebar sounds great. Yeah, maybe the plate is why the enter sounds weird and the backspace sounds weird. Backspace just sounds mushy, but it doesn't feel mushy. It's weird. Okay, so excuse the fireworks. I don't know why they're going off. I apologise. If you can hear those, I apologise profusely. There's fireworks. Excuse me. There's fireworks going off. Yeah, I don't think I like the way this board sounds overall. I've got to be honest. I don't think it sounds particularly good in any of the areas. The spacebar is a good sounding key, but that's about it. I tell you what I do like though, these switches. These switches are not too heavy, but they feel damn smooth. Yeah, I just don't know what the sound. I don't know what the problem with the sound is. Like this, I genuinely like the look. Like the board looks great, even without the gaudy stuff. Even if you take the gaudy stuff away, right? The board just from that profile looks great. It's different. It's unique. I think it looks great from that perspective as well. I think it looks great from the top down. I really do like the LEDs across the top. I think that's a really nice touch. I like the bezel thickness. I like how it's a little bit thicker and chunkier at the top and the bottom than it is on the sides. I like the chamfer on the edges. This is really cool. It's really nice. I just don't like the sound. The switches feel good though. These switches. So the switches feel really good. I like genuinely these feel like I've spent days tuning them. Like I've spent a few hours tuning these switches. That's what they feel like. So yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with that. But yeah, the board just doesn't sound good. I just, like, that sounds fine. Yeah, I genuinely just dislike the sound of the board. I just don't think it sounds particularly good, which is a real shame because it looks so nice. I think this needs a custom plate. I think it needs a softer plate, something that's going to take away a lot of that echo and that reverberation. I think it needs a POM plate, and I don't usually say that, but I do think it needs a POM plate. I also think it needs more of some sort of foam in the bottom. I do have the brass weight, because so inside the bottom of the case, that just here there's like a groove that runs down all this edge here. You can put a brass weight in there. I think it needs foam in that, which I usually very rarely say. I'm usually against putting foam in there, but I think that's what it needs. It needs foam cutting for that. Yeah, I mean the board's dense enough for the sound to feel. It should sound okay, but it just. Maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe it's just the board itself. That's the problem with it. That's why it sounds crap. It's the case itself. It's the way it all fits together. It needs another screw here. This is the big thing. It needs another screw here to hold it there. That's the problem with the board. It needs another screw in here to hold it tighter. If I do it like this. See, that's what it needs. It needs a screw to hold it here. Yeah, the gold frame does rattle a little bit. That does need taking out and tightening down again, yeah. But yeah, that's the issue with this board. The board sounds shit because the case isn't nipped together in the middle. It's not held together. There's a gap, and that's why it sounds like this. Whereas if I nip it, right, hold on, let me do it this way. Then nip it together tight. You hear the sound difference? You hear the sound? That's where it needs. It needs something to hold the case together better. POM plate, another case screw, maybe some sound dampening inside, which I really don't like doing, but maybe that's what it needs to fix it. Hold it down from front with one hand and type. Right, it's not a fair test now because I'm holding it off the thing. I can't really. It does sound better. It does sound better, and that's just me pushing it down firmly into the desk. Can you hear the sound difference when I do that? Can you hear the sound difference? That's crazy. So it's literally just that the case is separate here and it's just vibrating. That's what it is. Hot glue it. Yeah, man, hot glue it. Yeah, like genuinely, I can hear it here. I hope the mic's picking it up. Like just nipping together the front of the case changes the whole sound of the board. Changes the whole sound of the board. Like, and I genuinely think it's because of that. That sounds much more solid than that. So there you go. Yeah, maybe a gasket between the top and bottom pieces. Maybe that's what it needs. Something like that. Yeah, that could be a good option as well. I could cut some gasket strips and try that. Actually, that's not a bad shout. It will make it stand slightly more proud, but yeah, that's why people are having a problem make this board sound good. So there you go. But looks wise, I think this looks fantastic. I think this looks so good. Like, I genuinely love the chamfers. I genuinely love this front edge piece here. I think the LEDs up here are fun and cool. Yeah, I think from a sound perspective, it's the case design. From a visual perspective, it's pretty cool. I don't like this bit here. I'll be honest. If it was up to me, I would just have this piece come all across here and fill that gap, and I'd have the 3-piece case, and I wouldn't do these bits here either as well. I'd take that all out. I'd just kind of flush this up, put the logo in the middle if you want the logo, whatever, and have the case as a 3-piece case. 1, 2, and 3. That's what I would do, and I'd just blank all that off. But yeah, I think the case itself looks great, and I'm happy with the board from a looks perspective. But I think it's definitely just the way that the case is held together that makes it sound terrible. So just remember, guys, your fasteners matter just as much as the rest of the board does when it comes to sound. I like the logo at the back. Yes, I don't mind the Matrix logo. It's just this bit around it that I dislike. Like, the Matrix logo itself is fine. You know, even the cutesy little square in the middle, fine, whatever. I just don't like this piece here. And on the back, I'm not a fan of that bit there. Like, I wouldn't mind too much if it was just the teal piece, but it's that piece that I'm not a huge fan of. Tools and Toys logo, well, you can either like that or not. What's with people wanting logos on their boards? Well, hey man, people design boards, people want to put logos on them. I have a logo on the JO1, so, you know, it's just one of those things. That's a great match on the board and Legends and the case. Well done there. Thank you, Max. Thanks. Just a shame it doesn't sound great. What do you think to the Taiko Kipura? What do you think to that? It's pretty cool. One of my favourite Kipuras. I think I'll just buy this board and just take the L on the sound. Looks so good. Yeah, that's a fair way of looking at it, man. Do the looks outperform the feel? I think it feels great. Like, the switches feel fantastic. It's just the sound. It's just the sound. Crazy because the Able sounds really good. I have an Able to build as well. So there we go. No, Rabbit Sensei. No, like, the last time I showed Artisans off on stream, my DMs did not stop for days. The last thing I'm ever doing is showing off my Artisan collection on stream, because every time I do, or even people get a hint that I've got certain caps, I do not hear the end of it, and it takes so long to stop those questions coming in. So no, I will not do an Artisan walkthrough on stream. Yeah, it's just something that I don't have the time or the effort to, or hey, even the patience to deal with. As in folks asking to buy them? Yeah, let's put the music back on. Yeah, so if folks ask to buy them, to trade them, to do all sorts of stuff like that, yeah. Give it away? I'm not giving it away. I've just bought this. I'm not giving it away. You got some coveted Artisans? Maybe. I don't know. It's a long time since I've shared my Artisan collection, so what people used to think were cool 2 or 3 years ago, they probably don't anymore, so I might be alright. Bled in. Yes, he does. No, I don't. The only person who really has a clue of what I've got in my collection is probably Mousy, and he's a great guy, and he's going to take some pictures of some of the caps at some point when COVID's over. So yeah. If you manage to get a nice solution as a sound fix, make sure to sell it on your shop. To be honest, what I think I'm going to do is I'm probably just going to laser cut a gasket that'll fit all around the top case, and see if that fixes it. Yeah, so back to the silk switches. These are black silk switches that are in the board here. They feel fantastic. They do feel really, really great. The reds, so there's multiple different ones. They're all on the floor now because I've been building and pushing everything to the side off stream there. But the in fact, I might have a couple here. What have we got here? So we've got a yellow and a black. So the reds have an operating force of 35 gram and a bottom out of 55 gram. The yellows, which you can see here, these have an operating force of 45 gram and they bottom out at 63.5. And the black ones, which is what we built this board with, they operate at 55 grams and bottom out at 72. There is also the dry version, so these come in the same colors, red, black and yellow, but these are completely lube free and they're in the black housing, but they still have the NK logo just on the top that you can see just there. They are all linear. There is only a linear options. The pre-lubed ones are pre-lubed with 205 grade 0 out of the factory, and they feel great. Genuinely, they feel really, really good. I am not disappointed with these in the slightest. I think the feel of this board is fantastic, and whilst I've got my headphones on, I absolutely don't mind because I can't hear this clacking away. So that feels that feels fantastic because I can't hear it. So yeah, so these are 55 cents a piece of these switches. These are even lubed with 205 grade 0. They are 55 cents each. These ones are 55 cents each as well. So whether you get the dry series or you get the lubed series, they're both 55 cents a piece. They are JWK switches. They have a PC top, a PA bottom, and a POM stem. And they're just 55 cents each, which is cheaper than most other JWK switches. So they are a fantastic price. Yeah, the lubing on them is actually really good. It's really fine, and I'd assume that they'd be lubed like most switches are, which means they either have lube injected into them, or the parts are put in a tumbler and grease is added, and then a tumbled round in the grease, like tub lubing, right? This doesn't seem to be the case because the stems, the cruciform on the stem here, has no lube on them. Only the inside. If you guys want to see what the lube looks like, you can go right back to the beginning of the stream and you can watch that there, and it'll be on YouTube as well. If you don't want to do that on Twitch, I'll put the video on YouTube in the next day or so, and you'll be able to work out, you'll be able to see, because I showed exactly on the insides of the stems where the lube was and stuff like that. I'll show you again really briefly. So I just chucked the stem on the floor. Let me see if I've got another one here. Typical. So the stem is lubed on the slider rail, just on here, a very, very thin lube there, and then you can actually see the lube on the front here. You can see that there's lube there. It's a very thin layer across this front bit here, and that's it. They just lube really, really lightly, and I'm pretty impressed with it. Where can we buy it? Novelkeys. They're going to be on Novelkeys soon. I don't know when. I don't know exactly what dates or anything like that. I just know they're going to be on Novelkeys soon. So keep your eyes peeled for them if you are interested in them. I think I'd be excited to see these get more out there. They, as I say, they are Novelkeys branded as well. They do have the Novelkeys logo on it. It's really difficult to show you on stream, but the Novelkeys logo is just there. It's just there. So there you go. Better stock switches than H1s, 100%. Yeah, it's better than H1s out of the box. If you just well, so by that I mean the silk switches are. So if you take the silk switch, that's a better switch out of the box than the H1 is. That's a better switch. Better than creams? Yeah. We did compare it to a few of the switches at the start. We compared it to H1s and tangerines. So we compared it to these as well, V2 tangerines. Bang for buck, my money goes on these. Cheaper price and they feel great. No smell, they don't smell fishy. NK gonna retire because of this? Maybe. Absolutely maybe, yeah. So I think they're a great stock switch. Pre-lubed, you know, I mean, if you want to lube your switches, great, because you can still buy the dry series and for 55 cents and you can lube them yourself, and if you don't, you can buy the pre-lubed ones and away you go. The only thing I would potentially do with these if I open them up is put a film in them, and that's it. So there we go. The sound's difficult to tell because we've got a notoriously bad sounding board here. Yeah, the black housing ones are completely dry. They're completely dry, no lube whatsoever in the black housings, and the white ones are the silk series. They're pre-lubed, yeah. How do they compare to alpacas? I mean, the alpacas are the same as H1s and all the other JWK switches. I think these are a step above because the factory lube job is better. It's as simple as that. The only issue with them is I don't know how they really sound. This board is notorious for sounding terrible, and it does. We just showed why earlier on and why it sounds terrible. It's because of the way the board's designed, I think. I want to get some of these switches in an actual board that we know that can sound really good. So, yeah, we'll go from there. Yes, they are JWK decline. The JWK switches, they're just NK branded. They've just got the NK logo on top. You won't be able to see it on the switch, but they do have an NK logo on top just there. Can I make holy pandas with them? No, they're not a panda housing. You can't make holy pandas with them. No. Yeah, so there you go, guys. That's it. Okay, last 2 minutes, guys. If you've got any questions, now's the time to ask them. I'm going to close down the stream in a few minutes, and this is going to be my dedicated headset board. So I'm only going to use this board when I've got a headset on, because I can't hear it then. But I really love the look of it. I genuinely wish it was just a little bit nice. I just wish this piece was here. Like, this whole line was just this sand-coloured piece. That would be so nice. That's the only thing I'd change visually, I think. What's on the bottom doesn't really matter because you don't see it. And then I'd just change the construction a little bit. So there we go. Can you see it lit up? Yeah, sure. Let's plug it in very quickly. There you go. So there you go. With the hollow sound, could you make any recommendation better switches to put in them? If you're going to buy one of these, I would be really tempted to put something that does sound really good in there. So an ink switch or something like that, Gator on inks. I think you can control these and have them do different things. I think Caps Lock doesn't. Oh, anyway. Yeah, Caps Lock doesn't do anything. But I think there's like controls on the can do different things. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so now they're all different colours. I think that's it. Okay, so now they're slowly cycling colour left to right. You can see that this one is now blue and it's going to change colour. It's going to become a pale blue. And it's green. And then it's yellow, and the colours are just cycling along. So there you go. It's pretty cool, pretty fun. Doesn't this PCB have some wonky QMK shenanigans? Don't know. I need to look at how to program it. I haven't looked at that yet. I need to look that up. What do the LEDs on the top do? Is there a purpose? No, they're just colours. That's just it. Clickies. Clickies might not be a bad shout for this board. Some box jades or some box navies could be a good option. Put in a silent as well, maybe. Yeah, it'd still probably sound a bit hollow though, even with silent switches when you bottom out. Yeah, box jades or box navies. Yeah, I think 1 through 6 did something on. I mean, that's just F1 and F2. I think it's just a. And then we can just change the effects with. There you go. That's kind of nice. That's kind of a pastel color. There you go. Yeah, there you go. How does the Noah sound? Rust? Not good. Not good. The switches are great. The new Silk switches, spot on. I give them a thumbs up. The Noah, I give thumbs up on looks. I really like the looks of it, like from this angle and from the front angle. I'm not so much of a fan of it from the back, but from this angle, I think it looks great. The sound, yeah, could be better. Could be better. It doesn't sound good at all. But I don't think that's the build. I think that's just everything. And we showed why it sounds hollow. So Russ, check this out, Russ. So this is why it sounds terrible. That, but if I nip the front and then do it, it's the way the board's constructed. The board isn't actually held together. The two pieces are not screwed together fully. So even if I hold it like this, and then all I do is I nip the front part together. So there you go. There you go. Where does the row 4 pipe key come from? This is just an ISO set. It's the ISO coverage. It's the correct profile for the keys. It's just ISO coverage. Split left shift and ISO coverage. The screws are fully screwed in. They will not tighten any further. What's happening is it's actually here in the middle. So the board is actually I'm vastly exaggerating it here, but instead of the board sitting nice and neat and tight here, what's actually happening is it's coming out like that, and it's actually loose in the middle. So you're getting rattle across the two pieces here, and then the same at the back, and that's what's causing the awful sound. Which is why when you nip it, it sounds better than if you don't. The screws in the corners can't be tightened up anymore. Like, I would generally start to strip the threads on the screws if I did. Hot glue time. I think I'm just going to laser cut a gasket to go around the edge and see if that fixes it. I have got the brass weight. I just haven't put it in the board yet. This is the brass weight here. I just haven't put it in the board. Mainly because I don't have any double-sided sticker tape. And it's slightly bent. It comes slightly twisted. So I need to straighten it up. Round 2, I'm not sure if round 2 has good ISO coverage or not. The problem is it has row 3 pipe as well, so yeah, I don't know what round 2 coverage has bent to round 2. Let's have a look. Oh, the board's not plugged in again now. I'll plug it again. There we go. Okay, let's have a look and see what... Yeah, so the base actually does this better. So what the base kit does for bent around to it is it has the enter key, it has this key here, but then what it has down here is it has the chevron keys, which are the 2 arrows pointing back and forwards, which makes it technically terminal ISO rather than UK ISO or a variant thereof. You can see here, this is what UK ISO should have. It should have that key here, and then the pipe key there. This has pipe key. The other one has pipe key and then chevrons, which is the terminal style of ISO. So it's much better coverage actually. I actually prefer that to this. It's kind of a salmon colour, but it's not the same salmon colour as the case. So there we go. I'm not sure what the changes are for round 2 in Noah Rust. No, I'm not sure. I didn't know what they were. Cool. All right, guys. I think that's pretty much it for the stream now, guys. We've shown the board. We've built it. I love the looks of it. I'm going to turn the RGB off because I don't like that. I do like these at the back though. I'll leave those on. So yeah, we're going to go for that. I'm probably going to put muted on here and just use it as a headset board so I don't have to worry about the sound. But yeah, we'll take it from there and see how the board goes. I'm going to program it tomorrow and we'll see what we feel like after that. But the sound, that is the worst part about the board, sadly. Right then, folks, thank you very, very much for watching the stream. You just highlighted a comment because that's great. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I'm going to head off now, so feel free to come and join us in the Discord. You can click all the links below. Watch our videos on YouTube if you really want to. Whatever, it's up to you. And I'll see you around, guys. Thank you very, very much for today, though. Really appreciate your time. Thanks, guys.